To our first topic of discourse today. The Nigerian economy has been on a roller coaster ride as the ripple effect of the coronavirus pandemic still remains visible on key sectors of the economy. Despite its continued dependence on oil, the economic outlook for the country is expected to be steady, going by the marginal growth recorded in the past year, as the service sector of the country's economy will continue to outpace the real sector in 2022. However, the positive projections made by the World Bank and International Monetary Fund for the economic outlook for the year 2022. Economic analysts are of the view that macroeconomic challenges such as insecurity, foreign exchange scarcity, declining foreign investment inflows, sectoral rigidity, infrastructure deficits, inadequate skilled workforce, policy inconsistency, and regulatory bottlenecks are part of the many issues that will dent improved economic outcomes if not adequately addressed. Joining me now via Zoom to dissect these issues around Nigeria's economy in 2022 is a professor, also the founder of Center for Value and Leadership. That's no other person but Professor Pat Utomi, also a former presidential candidate. He's a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria. Welcome to the show, Professor Utomi.
It's a pleasure to join you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's start the discussion. We started with COVID and all of the challenges that it showed. When we thought that was coming to an end, we still see that the growth we are seeing in Nigeria is not what is expected. First, how do you think that we can build a viable economy in Nigeria with all of these challenges that we face before we go into some specifics, Prof?
Yeah, first of all, you have to have a strategy. You really don't get anywhere into this world without a very clear strategy. In my opinion, our country doesn't have a clear national strategy in terms of how our economy is going to whether you go back to needs and all of those things, but following a strategy. This is what we say here, that the greatest challenge facing Nigeria is the challenge of unemployment. And the only way
let's take a break and try to reconnect with you so that maybe we could hear you clearly.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty, erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
There is always more to a story than the scribbled line. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every 1 hour, 86 migrants enter Lagos State. It is a beehive of activities. Every second counts in this city that never goes to sleep. There is always something to talk about. We go the extra mile to tell the story of Africa's 5th largest economy. We track happenings on land, on waterways, and in the air. We go against all odds to ensure that you are heard.
25% of the entire spread of Lagos is covered with water.
I'm Adedoja Salamageni. I live in Lagos.
In the month of March, 2nd of March is 1 year after the first batch of 3.9 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine arrived in Nigeria. How has the effort been since then? The 8th is another day to celebrate the strength and contributions of women in human development on International Women's Day. On the 10th of March 2019, a Boeing 737 MAX operated by Ethiopian Airline crashed, killing 157 persons on board. How far has the world gone in achieving a safe airspace? The 11th is 1 year after the abduction of students at Federal College of Forestry, Kaduna. Yet, the search is still on for safety and peace. And the 14th is Commonwealth Day. On the 21st, global attention shifts to the plight of people with Down syndrome. Same day is International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. 22nd of March is World Water Day. And on the 24th, eradication of tuberculosis takes center stage on World Tuberculosis Day. Stay with TVC News.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I am sure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Jackson, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field,
Taking you through as it happened,
it's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
with investigations that matter,
bringing in news that affects your life.
with sport, entertainment, and business news so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth.
Every night.
Voted as the best TV station of the year. TVC News breaks into the core of every event as they happen. Following all nationwide big and impactful stories. We tell the news from every perspective, covering every human angle. I am Veronica, bringing you the news you would want to watch.
It's not your regular show. It's an online interactive session where we share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. Abajide Kolaji Otitoju. Join me every Saturday on TVC News YouTube channel as I discuss Nigeria and the world at large on the show, Issues with Jide.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Now, Professor Patu told me if you can hear me, you were saying something about strategy. Please, can you take it up from there?
Yeah, I was saying that to make progress in today's world, you must have a clear strategy. You can't be all things to all people, or you can't wait and let things happen to you. You must happen to things. The Nigerian economy does not have a clear national strategy. Many efforts have been made, but the political class has not had the discipline to pursue a winning strategy. Now, let me tell you from my perspective today that the strategy that I think will work for Nigeria is one in which we look at our latent comparative advantage, look at our factor endowments, choose a number of them that we want to dominate global value chains on, just the way South Korea in perspective planning decided 40, 50 years ago that they wanted to dominate shipbuilding, and systematically from nothing built up a shipbuilding industry that became world class. We must say that on a number of our endowments, and then use industrial policy to support that with discipline. Not tomorrow you go and give waiver to that person, somebody, your friend wants to make money, you do that. That's what the ruin of Nigerian economy has been. So, if we had a clear national strategy and we realize that we are a very populous country, that creating jobs for the teeming population, number of people being added to the workforce every day, training and retraining people is critical, education, then our strategy is aligned appropriately. I was speaking yesterday at the labor movement convoking of this conference on a political way forward, that if you look at education, we're all talking about education, it's flailing, as we're striking, but education should not just be just education. Everybody wants university degree, wants this. You take an endowment. You say, take sesame seed. People in Benue eat soup out of sesame seed. Whereas we can create an industrial policy that supports sesame seed processing and dominating a certain global value chain. Then, in Benue State, education policy should be such that by the time you are done with primary school, you know enough about how to grow sesame seed that you can build world-class farms or set up world-class farms. You know enough about their processing, the packaging, the export, that you can set up several businesses. Before you are SS3, you know all of this. That's what education should do. Support economic growth. Not just everybody must be able to go to university, everybody's education should be free or not free. No, it should be based on a strategy. If you want to dominate, you can say, if you are going to go to school to study XYZ, it is definitely free because Nigeria wants to win the war in the world in this area. Those are the issues of national strategy that I think we must engage as a fundamental thing.
Beautiful. Well, at the moment, we grapple with a lot of issues. Let me just talk on some. There's an ASU strike, which is there, and also fuel scarcity, which we've been on for more than 2 weeks, despite assurances that it will get better. Of course, all of this the price of diesel is also on the high side, kerosene on the high side. All of this would affect inflation figures. Now, all of the projections that we've had before now, the World Bank, the IMF, what do you think would happen moving on in 2022, Prof?
I think it will depend on whether the political class wants to sit down and be truthful to itself and commit to serving the Nigerian people rather than playing games. I've given an example repeatedly ad nauseum. If we are serious people, we know that there has been decline. People are hungry. The streets are angry. How has it reflected in the behavior of the political class? What cost savings are there? How has the National Assembly trimmed its costs to one-third what it is today? How have we done those things? Those are so fundamental to any progress that we can make. But we are not seeing that discipline. It's as if there's a disconnect between the people and the people who govern them. If we had that kind of discipline, we will begin to focus on how we can take advantage. One, for example, and you have to give a little praise. I mean, we've been raising this issue last week. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy came to Lagos to meet the ecosystem, all the startups in Lagos. If you recall, I was there, I gave a keynote and all of that. Look, today, the only place really attracting any serious foreign investment into Nigeria is that space of these young people in tech startups. How are we supporting them? Strategy must immediately create policies that support them. Many of them, as soon as they attract the investment, because people have uncertainty issues with Nigeria, $300 million comes to this firm. The next day, the firm is registered in the US. And before you know it, the CEO is operating from North America. And, you know, it's better than nothing, but we could create the kinds of incentives that make them Nigerian companies, make more people invest in Nigeria, so that the long-term harvest of that sector will be Nigeria. You look at some of the work that has been done. People are suggesting, even in Europe, I think it's even an FT commentary, that Africa is going to dominate global fashion in the short term. Nigeria has a base to become that source of dominating the fashion value chain. How is policy supporting the possibility that fashion can be earning us more foreign exchange than crude oil is earning us today within the next year or two if we did the right things? These are the kind of questions that we should be asking.
Interesting. One now. So if we saw inflation down at a time, up again, and we are moving on, we don't know. Some say it might be on the high side because of all of these issues that we've talked about. But Prof, let me ask you this question with regards to our trade policies, because I see that we need to attract investments at this time with all of these challenges. Insecurity is there too, not making investors want to come in. So what is your projection with regards to needed investments in Nigeria?
Well, it's a real problem, the insecurity situation, and I think we need to tackle it not from point of view of how many guns do we have, but how we engage and negotiate with different groups that feel injustice in Nigeria. We must move quickly. It's invariably the peace that brings us political intervention rather than military intervention that brings solutions to these kinds of incidents of insurgency everywhere in the world through the years. How much are we investing in making those kinds of processes work? Because there are many people who can't go to their farms. I am myself driving a particular agri value chain process with a wholesale produce market industrial park in Edo State. What support have I gotten? Zilch. And this is something that can transform several agri-based value chains. And people are frightened. The farmers who bring the inputs sometimes can't go to the farm. And yet we're trying to set up plantain and cassava processing factories that can give us the kinds of output that will be exported, consumed locally, go into so many other manufacturing processes. These are issues to be considered. Security is best made at the lowest level. So how do we build the communities up, whether you call it the vigilante or whatever? How do we do local policing? How do we engage to ensure that there is peace enough to go to the farms? These are very important things. But I'm not sure that we have enough political will, enough commitment to resolve right now. And I think that's what the real problems are. Those are the real problems.
Finally, Prof, because I know you still have a lot to do here in Abuja. It's a pre-election year. And many say that this could also shape policies and all of that, that governance might even shut down at a point as we move closer to the elections. What do you think? How would this affect the economy in its totality?
You know, it can have terrible impact if we don't move quickly. In fact, if the political class is clever, this is the time to put in place a government of national unity, separate all the typical political actors from governing, create a government of technocrats to just run our country for the next 1 year until elections take place. Because there's a loss of confidence in the current order. The legitimacy quotient is very, very, very low. There is a certain sense that, you know, nothing can happen with the current leadership. So people are hesitating to make any commitments. Investors are waiting till after the elections next year. And all this will hurt an economy like ours. So it's time for the politicians to quickly and think like statesmen, not like people trying to corner power.
All right now. Professor, political economy and management expert, Professor Patutomi there, and also founder of the Center of Value Leadership. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate this. Despite the technology issues, we're still able to hear you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.